Everything was fine for Merv Griffin. He made Wheel of Fortune in Jeopardy. He made a lot of money by owning buildings. He was loved in Hollywood. On the other hand, two guys sued him in 1991. Someone asked for $200 million for palimony. The other one said they were sexually harassed. The cases were thrown out, but the damage had already been done, at least until he died in 2007. The reports didn't go away. He had made a fortune, but these charges were the one stain he couldn't get rid of. He was born on July 6, 1925 in San Mateo, a quiet, wealthy neighborhood of San Francisco. His family had some cash, but it didn't last long. Much of their money was lost when the Great Depression hit. His father was a banker. They moved into a little room. Merv and his sister had to share a room. He would never forget the first time he felt worried about money. He knew as a child that everything could disappear in an instant, even though he would later make game shows that were worth billions of dollars. Merv wasn't well liked at school. As a youth, he weighed about 240 pounds and was shy. He didn't belong there, but he was talented, which wasn't something most kids had. In the middle of confession when he was only 7 years old, a priest heard him singing in tune. He soon joined the choir at church. He learned to play Bach on the church organ by age 10. It was hard for his feet to touch the pedals. He was making $35 a week by age 15, which is about $650 today, in charge of playing the organ. He worked out every day for hours, sometimes until his fingers hurt. He did all of this without taking a single piano class. He learned by ear and was very good at pitch. Merv also wanted to do well. In college, he joined ROTC and lost 25 pounds to get in shape for the service. But he couldn't fight in WE when he was 18 years old, because he had a heart problem. 39% of his friends enlisted in the military. Merv stayed put. He felt bad about it. He did what he could. He did 127 USO shows over the next 2 years, entertaining soldiers who were hurt in California hospitals. That missed draft gave him an edge he didn't expect. While everyone else was abroad, Merv didn't have any entertainment competition. He made good use of that time. Fans were shocked by how good he looked after his first big radio show in 1944. He was big, but his voice was beautiful. Merv had made up his mind to change, so he lost 80 pounds in just 4 months. His food was awful. 1 meal a day, black coffee and smokes. It did work though. A popular band leader named Freddie Martin heard him on the radio and hired him. Merv now makes $250 a week, which is 4 times what he did before. Merv went on tour with Martin's orchestra for 4 years, going to 47 states. He learned how to get people to do what he wanted. He played every night at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York for famous people like Frank Sinatra. They made 32 songs together. The Trolley song, their biggest hit, got to number 18 on the Billboard charts. They fought over profits in the end. Merv quit his job that paid $400 a week to try something new. It paid off that bet. Merv talked his way into the Coconut Grove, one of LA's sexiest bars, on November 12, 1948. He told lies when he said Sinatra told him about the job and that he was already a big star in San Francisco. It wasn't true at all. The first thing he did was sing a silly British joke song called "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts." The crowd yelled. He was asked to come back 3 more times. He got a job for 6 weeks at $850 a week, and a record deal with RCA Victor 2 days after that show. It sold 3.4 million copies after that. After many years, Merv built a tribute bar in his own hotel, and named it the Coconut Club in honor of the song that started it all. But Merv had already started his own record label before all of this. He started Panda Records when he was only 19. His first album, Songs by Merv Griffin 1946, was the first album in America to be made on magnetic tape. It was a risky move. That wasn't a side note. It changed how records were made. While most artists didn't have any say in how their music was made, he was in charge of every part of his. Merv became popular with Coconuts, but he kept showing that he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Wilhelmina, his next song, was a fun tune that was nominated for an Oscar. The next 2 were Never Been Kissed and Music All Hits. These songs helped him get parts in movies because they showed that he could sing, act, and make people like him. Doris Day helped him get his big break in Hollywood. Because she thought he was so good, she worked behind the scenes to get him a screen test at Warner Brothers. He didn't get the part she wanted, but he did get a deal which was better. That deal gave her more chances to be in movies. Merv and Doris were friends for many years. She was on his talk show a lot, and he always said that she helped start his movie career. So This Is Love, which came out in 1953, was one of his first big movies. In it, Merv kissed Katherine Grayson, who played his co-star. It wasn't easy back then, but it sounds easy now. The kiss left the mouth open. At that time, Hollywood had very strict rules that wouldn't let them do it. One of the first to fight against the Hays Code, which said that things that were thought to be too sexual were illegal. At that time, Merv did start a revolution, even though he didn't mean to. That kiss made Hollywood one step closer to not having to follow the rules for control. But Merv Griffin really didn't like how slowly movies were being made. He didn't like having to wait hours to say 2 lines in a part that wasn't cast well. He needed power. He wanted your opinion. His main desire was to be free. He did something brave. That was the end of his deal with Warner Brothers. And he quit Hollywood. The next thing that happened changed everything. Griffin was thrown into the world of TV right away. He started a new game show called Play Your Hunch in 1958. It wasn't just any show. It started on CBS, then moved to ABC in early 1959, and finally stayed on NBC for a long time. Almost never did someone do a triple network run like that. It was easy to read, do what your gut tells you and pick the right answer. But behind the scenes it was making people famous. It showed a young Robert Redford on it. So did Ted Koppel, who would later be a TV anchor. Even John Olsen, the broadcaster, got his start there when he filled in for Griffin twice. Griffin was quickly getting more friends, but not everyone was rooting for him. He had been competing with Robert Q. Lewis for a long time. Griffin made fun of Lewis when he took over the show later, saying that the 4-year-old just wasn't what the people wanted. Yes, I did. ABC saw a chance to make him a prime-time star as his fame grew. In 1959, they put him in charge of Keep Talking. The show was set up in a smart way. The celebrity judges tried to guess a secret word while one partner told a story without saying it. What's the twist? The story suddenly switched between judges. They couldn't stop the story and get middle of it. Griffin did a great job with everything. Stars like Orson Bean, Joey Bishop, and Jane Meadows all around them. Griffin wasn't just a daytime figure after that show ended in 1960. He had shown that he could also rule prime time. By 1963, NBC was once again interested in Griffin's skills. They gave him something bigger this time. He would do more than just host. It was word for word in the show. It was the beginning of Griffin's impact behind the scenes. A few months ago, NBC canceled his first afternoon talk show, even though critics gave it good reviews. But Griffin had done a good job of negotiating. It was in his deal that he could keep working as a producer. That small sentence made the next part of his story possible. It also taught him important lessons that helped him make 2 of the most famous game shows ever. Guess Who and Wheel of Fortune. Griffin never stopped trying to get on talk shows though. In fact, an accident gave him his big break. Jack Paar, the host of The Tonight Show, accidentally walked onto Griffin's set while he was filming Play Your Hunch one morning. Griffin didn't freak out. Instead, he grabbed the chance. He talked to Paar right then and there. He got to be Parr's guest host because of that last-minute move. NBC had the most popular fill-in host during the time between Parr's departure and Carson's arrival. He didn't get the job permanently, but they did give him his own talk show during the day. It started on October 1, 1962, the same day that Carson did. Griffin's show only ran for 6 months at first. He wasn't done yet though. It was brought back by him in 1965 through Westinghouse Broadcasting. There were many of them this time. That meant that local stations could show either a 60-minute or 90-minute version, at any time of the day or night. In the background, Griffin's friend Arthur Treacher became a fan favorite for presenting him in a stylish way. And now here's Merv, the sweet boy himself. CBS saw how well the show was doing. Griffin was put up against Carson on the Late Night Show in 1969. Griffin fought on network TV for 3 years, and his careful interview style and bold choice of guests made him famous across the country. But then there was debate. Griffin wasn't going to be safe. In 1965, he asked the philosopher Bertrand Russell to speak out against the Vietnam War. The reaction happened right away. The news called him a traitor, but he didn't back down. People who were controversial but important, like Abby Hoffman, Dick Gregory, George Carlin, and Norman Mailer, were allowed to speak out. Phyllis Diller, a comedian, was paired with Captain Mitsuo Fuchida, the man who planned the attack on Pearl Harbor, in one show. It was real, but it was also dangerous. By 1969, people in charge at CBS were getting worried. They put pressure on Griffin to have more people who supported the war. He said no. Censors blurred Hoffman out when he wore a shirt with an American flag on it. Griffin said it was a mess of lines. They even told him to fire Treacher because he was too old. He pushed back. Griffin beat the Joey Bishop show, but he couldn't get rid of Carson. CBS didn't have as many partner stations, and Griffin never really had a chance. By 1972, he was tired of being bothered, so he went back to reruns. That move kept the show going. For another 14 years, he wasn't held back by business hands. Griffin's way of interviewing stood out. Carson kept his cool and stayed away, but Griffin leaned in. He was so warm. He cared about how his guests looked. That's right, he asked for more information. He was concerned. Instead of short chats about ads, he let talks last at least 30 minutes. He talked to more than 25,000 people over the years. He liked Orson Welles the most. The director showed up almost 50 times. Griffin even gave some guests their own full episodes, which felt more like talks in a living room than showbiz shows. He was okay with people like Zaza Gabor, who came on just to talk and didn't have anything to sell. The show wasn't just something that people loved. It won 10 Emmys. Just in 1985, it won for Best Direction and was nominated 4 more times. Mort Lindsay was in charge of the music, which won 2 awards in a row in 1970 and 1971. Griffin himself was up for a Golden Globe in 1971 for Best TV Actor in a Musical or Comedy. He was also added to the Television Hall of Fame in 2008, 1 year after he had died. Merv Griffin and his wife Joanne were taking a plane back to New York in 1963. In the 1950s, scandals on quiz shows turned TV execs against trivia shows. But Joanne had a crazy thought. Who would win if you told them the answers and let them guess? In the cabin, she put her idea to the test. 5,280, she said. Merv asked how many feet are in a mile. It was that spark that set off one of the most famous TV shows ever. As of March 30, 1964, Jeopardy had shown its first episode. It went over well. Art Fleming was the host. It was smart how it was put together, and the show itself seemed smarter than anything else on daytime TV. But there was something else that made Jeopardy a classic: its theme song. Griffin made the song think in less than a minute as a bedtime song for his son. That 30-second song would earn him profits worth more than $100 million. It made more money than any other song ever. Griffin still had work to do. At the same time, fun childhood games he played with his sister gave him a different thought. Hangman is a simple but fun game. He put that together with his interest in roulette wheels. He told NBC about the idea, but their executive Lynn Boland said, "It needs more sparkle, something to attract women viewers." They added shopping, made a weird pilot called Shopper's Bazaar with a vertical wheel and rotary phones, and finally chose a version that was finished. The first episode of Wheel of Fortune aired on January 6, 1975. It would become the game show that has been shown on more networks than any other. Griffin's small production company had grown into a huge game show business by the mid-1980s. He did something in 1986 that shocked Hollywood. Merv Griffin Enterprises was bought by Columbia Pictures for $250 million off of him. It was the largest sale ever made by a single-owner entertainment company at the time. Griffin made more money than any other actor in Hollywood, but he had worked out a deal that most artists can only dream of. He kept the right to get income in the future. The money kept coming in after the sale. Some of his original ideas were used in new shows like Wheel 2000 Jep and Rock and Roll Jeopardy, but not all of the shows were a hit. Griffin did risky things. He made Let's Play Post Office in 1965, a strange NBC show that takes place in a mailroom that looks like a cartoon. People answered hints that were based on puns and won prizes from $5 to $100. One hint: it's not cold at all. I must tell you, no one can give you the answer. Not even a year went by. After 2 years, he released Reach for the Stars, which had music by Herb Alpert. There were only 65 shows. These short-lived shows didn't slow him down. They only showed that he was always trying new things. Griffin did more than just put together shows. He was making a huge business. After the sale for $250 million in 1986, he used his money to go after bigger goals. He paid $100,200,000 for the Beverly Hilton Hotel in December 1987. The building had just been fixed up for $35 million. It wasn't his first choice. He had his eye on the Beverly Hills Hotel, but the Sultan of Brunei got it first. It was true that the Beverly Hilton had a past. Presidents, movie stars, and big events have been there. Griffin bought it and turned it into the place where the Golden Globe Awards and other Hollywood events were held. Some people said the hotel lost its shine over time. Griffin's touch in show business, though, made it a star again. Then he took the biggest risk of all with Resorts International. Griffin stood up to Donald Trump when he tried to take over. It took a long time and was a mess. Griffin paid a total of $365 million, took on a $925 million loan and gave Trump an extra $60 million just to leave. These were his prizes: the buildings in Atlantic City and the Paradise Island Resort. The Taj Mahal Casino was kept by Trump. Griffin said that it was a win. The party didn't last long though. He took out too many loans, most of which were trash bonds with interest rates close to 14%. In just 1 year, Resorts International ran out of cash by $70 million. The business went bankrupt in December 1989. Griffin's whole world fell apart a year after he beat Trump. He kept having dreams though. With the Coconut Club in January 1998, he brought old Hollywood back to life. On the weekends, the Beverly Hilton turned into a fancy bar. Griffin wished to bring back the magic of the 1940s. There were velvet seats, gold palm trees and a huge dance floor to greet people. There was big band music everywhere. Jack Sheldon, a trumpeter, led the group. Griffin had played here before when he was younger. He was now the owner. That's not all. The Coconut Club was about. It was a letter of love to his past self. In the 1950s, TV star Merv Griffin was getting more and more popular. He was charming, ambitious, and had been in more and more movies. That's when he met Right Julie. She worked as a secretary on the Robert Q. Lewis show behind the scenes. At first their meeting seemed normal, but it quickly became more than that. In 1958 they got married. Griffin's career was just getting going at the time. Not many people would have thought that this couple would later help make Jeopardy one of the most famous shows on TV. Jelaine helped Merv come up with ideas behind closed doors. She was never the center of attention, but what she said helped build his kingdom. In 1959 they had a son named Tony. Their marriage stayed strong for 18 years. But as Merv's fame grew, the space between them got bigger. They quietly split up in 1976. There wasn't a scandal. There was just a split during what Merv called a time of doubt and insecurity. They stayed close even after they broke up. Jelaine went on to make her own name by starting the first bank for women in California and doing stand-up comedy. They broke up in a nice way, which isn't like most Hollywood couples. Merv had a child when he was at the top of his game. Tony, his son, was born on December 8, 1959. After that, the game show Billionaire was seen in a kinder light. He kept Tony out of the crazy world of show business. But Tony grew up in the middle of it all. As an adult, he went his own way. He acted in movies like Spaceballs and later started his own farm in Malibu. When Merv died in August 2007, Tony gave a moving speech. Arnold Schwarzenegger also spoke at the funeral, but Tony was the one who gave the most personal look. In his words, his dad was like the Energizer Bunny. There was a lot of life in Merv even though he was 82 years old. At that moving service, Farrah, Tony's 12-year-old daughter, read from a book. As a tribute, his young son Donovan was chosen to carry the casket. When Griffin's family lost someone, they stayed strong. In the late 1980s, Merv and Eva Gober were seen together everywhere. These people were all over the news. At galas, parties, and on red carpets, they were always pictured together. There were rumors. Some people thought they were in love. Some said they were going to get married. Some people even thought Nancy Reagan might be the maid of honor. She stopped everything in 1990 though. "We're not romantically involved," she said. Even so, they couldn't be separated. They had met before shooting Return to Green Acres, but it made their friendship stronger. People who work in Hollywood thought the relationship had two goals. It helped them become real friends and kept people from asking Merv about his personal life. Merv was very sad when Ava died suddenly in July 1995. Zoza, her sister, said he was like family. No matter what their link was, it lasted until the end. After that, there were cases. Brent Plott shocked Hollywood on April 11, 1991. He went to court and said that he had been Merv Griffin's partner and lover for 9 years. He said they moved in together in 1981. He said that he was Griffin's lover, friend, secretary, driver, and guide. He wasn't just after a few bucks either. He asked for $200 million. Griffin was said to have offered Plott half of everything, including money from Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. In fact, he said that he helped make Wheel and picked Vanna White to turn the letters. He asked for $400,000 at first, but then he raised it to $200 million. He told Griffin that he had quit his job as an antiques dealer and moved to Los Angeles just for her. The story was very exciting. Merv answered right away, and without any doubt, he said nothing at all. He said that Plott had never been his partner, and that he was only $250 a week horse trainer and protector. He said that the case was an attempt to get money from them. Griffin's lawyer said the claims were crazy. Merv even said Plot failed a lie detector test, but Plot's lawyer said there was no test at all. By November 1991, the case had been dropped for good. Griffin's team wouldn't say why. More theories spread because of the silence. After a month there was another shock. Merv was sued for sexual harassment by Denny Tarrio, who used to lead Dance Fever. The details were very bad. Tarrio said it all started before the show aired. Griffin was accused of touching him, pushing him onto a couch and taking his pants off. He said it went on for years and included touching, kissing and trips to his private dressing room. He also said Griffin told him he would own the show and get a cut of the income, but Griffin lied and used those promises to control him. Tarrio didn't say anything until 1991. He went into great depth about everything when he went on the Geraldo Rivera show in 1992. He was hard-pressed by Geraldo, who asked him why he had to wait so long. Some parts of his story were questioned and old drug reports were brought up. The crowd laughed in a strange way. Tarrio's lawyer said that his client had passed a polygraph test. Griffin's team was challenged to do the same, and he even skipped the test results on TV. Once more, the case did not go to court. It was thrown out, but just like the lawsuit over the story, the ending was left alone, which made people wonder. Some people thought Griffin might have bought them off to end the trouble. By the early 2000s, he was worth more than $1 billion. It might have been easier to get rid of the problems. The cases changed everything, no matter what the truth was. The details were written in newspapers, shown on TV and talked about in the business, but Merv never admitted to anything. It was a long time before Hollywood really dealt with power abuse, and one of the biggest names in TV was involved. Tarrio afterwards said, "I'm on a blacklist. He told me I was a scary story. He put an end to my career." People in the same field shared those worries about how quickly a powerful person could shut someone up, even if they didn't win in court. People all over the world knew about Merv Griffin's life. Still, there was a lot about him that was kept secret. People in Hollywood spoke a secret language in the early 2000s. They talked about someone being gay without actually saying it. People either said things like confirmed bachelor or only talked about Merv's marriage to Julian Wright, which ended in 1976. That was all that was asked. Not even the people who worked with him a lot. No one ever brought it up, but everyone knew. That was the rule, and Merv was very good at following it. He didn't just whisper. He made a whole picture to keep the truth safe. One of the best things about this picture was how well known his friendship with Eva Gabor was. They were always in the news together and went to events together. They even talked about getting married. People from the outside thought it was a love story. For insiders, it was a whole different story. This kind of connection was known as a beard in Hollywood. It was a lie. It worked. Merv did a good job. He didn't get upset when someone asked him directly about his personal life. He told a joke. He told the New York Times in 2005, "I tell everyone that I'm a quadrisexual. For $20 I'll do anything with anyone." It said everything and nothing at the same time. He could laugh it off, say that the reports were not true, and keep everyone guessing. Then almost everything fell apart in 1991. Two guys, one who used to work for him and the other who is a TV host, sued him. In a Palamone suit, one asked for $200 million. The other person told him he was sexually harassing her and asked for $11.3 million. The media paid close attention to these large numbers. But Merv didn't freak out even then. He made even more Gabber appearances, going to high-profile parties like nothing had changed. In the end, both cases were thrown out. After that, the story was no longer there. Things were different behind closed doors, though. People who work in Hollywood knew that Merv had lived with several men. Some said he dated famous people like Rock Hudson, James Dean and Peter Lawford. One biography of Merv even said he had a male harem and paid someone to bring him adult movie stars. Even though his workers didn't see it happen, they knew what was going on. No one said anything. Merv gave one of his last big interviews, this time to Rolling Stone, in 2006. His health was getting worse at the time. He told the reporter straight out that he was gay. He didn't say it wasn't true, but he also didn't say it was true either. You want to know about an 80-year-old man's sexuality right now? Take a break. That was his answer, which was another joke. Once more, it worked. The person asking Merv about it said that he didn't answer yes or no. He just changed the subject. Going back to Eva Gabor. Get back to safety. He passed away at Cedars-Sinai in Los Angeles on August 12, 2007. He was 82 years old. He had beat prostate cancer before in 1996, but it came back. When the news got out, prayers came in for the family. His funeral took place at the Church of the Good Shepherd in Beverly Hills 5 days after he died. The first person in the row was Nancy Reagan. The address was given by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Tony, Merv's son, did the same thing. There were many stars in the room: Alan Carr, Ellen DeGeneres, Ryan Seacrest, Alex Trebek, Vanna White, and Dick Van Dyke. Everyone came to say goodbye. There is a grave for Merv Griffin at Westwood Village Memorial Park. His gravestone had one more joke on it: "I'm not going to be back right away after this letter." In honor of him, the network for game shows showed runs of his shows over the weekend. A lot of people watched. They remembered the fun times, the gifts, and the wheels that spun.